Hello and thanks for staying with us on your channel of choice, Africa Independent Television AIT. This is the Signature Show. I am Nwabuzo Njoku's program, and in this edition of the program this Sunday, Nigeria's collapsing economy. When does a government engage with the citizens? Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State, when competence and knowledge become liability and a burden. Nigeria's military says, give us equipment and insurgency will become history. Plus, our special report, which is a repeat on your request. And of course, as you know, our interview segment for this Sunday. Now, taciturnity, holding back and keeping mum is hardly the best art of governance. Engaging and talking with the citizens builds trust, bridges the divide, and allows the ordinary citizen to share in the challenges and solutions to the challenges of any government. Today, however, the Naira is exchanging for 483 Naira to the dollar. Today, Nigeria's oil revenue has virtually dried up. Today, only few daredevil investors want to come into Nigeria. And today, Nigeria has borrowed itself out of viability, both domestically and internationally. And Nigeria is saddled with an uncreative economic team. State governments, most of whose greatest credentials is sharing the money and talking low-level politics. At the federal level, the government's greatest initiative is keeping mum. As Nigeria borrows to the point of emptying the national pension account and making itself unviable to any business-minded lender. As Nigeria services its huge debt with resources meant to service the needs of the ordinary citizen, the government is not making any effort to engage with the citizen. No wonder Nigerian pensioners are now honoring governors who are doing what ordinarily they should do: pay our senior citizens their pensions regularly.
The President of the Union, Dr. Abel Afolayan, said that the four governors have shown commitment and dedication in paying of pensions and gratuity to the retirees in their states. According to him, other governors have not done well in their pension administration. The four governors include Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, who he said has cleared all the liabilities of pension arrears he inherited from the past administration within a space of 2 years. Others are Babagana Zulum of Borno State, Mai Mala Boni of Yobe State, and Seye Makinde of Oyo State.
This year's edition is, however, the mother of them all. 4 performing and progressive governors have been slated today for various categories of awards from the Union, while many of their colleagues are underperforming as far as pension administration is concerned. Governor Olusola Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, within a space of 2 years, had cleared all various liabilities of pension arrears he inherited from previous administration administrations in Lagos State. Today, he is being honored with the distinguished and quote, Award of Excellence and Greater Commitment to Pensioners' Welfare. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum of Borno State, this wonderful, excellent governor, took a giant step with determination to clear all pension liabilities in his state. Governor Mai Balabune of Yobe State raised the bar of pension administration in Yobe State from where his predecessor, who is now a distinguished senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, left it. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, popularly called GSM, scored a major feat when he became Oyo State Governor in 2019.
The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, who was represented at the event by the Permanent Secretary, Yerima Tafa, said the federal government is mindful of the sacrifices of the senior citizens towards the development of the country. He pledged the commitment of the federal government to improve the welfare of the pensioners in the country. Also speaking at the conference, the Chairman, Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service, Senator Ibrahim Shakarel, said that the Senate has set up a committee that will deliberate on the workable pension scheme for the country. The committee will also ensure that the state implement existing pension obligations.
The federal government is mindful of your sacrifices and contributions to the Nigerian project and is committed to taking necessary steps to address issues that border on improving your welfare. In this regard, my ministry had decided to take the lead on the lingering issue of consequential adjustments to pension of Nigerian pensioners, which has been overdue since 2019, when the new minimum wage was signed into law by Mr. President.
The committees responsible for pension in the two chambers of the National Assembly are already on the drawing board, reviewing all parts of the Act that require a rethinking, require a review, and by the grace of God, we've even drawn up a timetable. Shortly after the fasting period, my committee and our sister committee in the House of Reps are setting up a technical committee to go through the entire Act and ensure that all that is contained there is implementable, is workable for the benefit of all the beneficiaries, the pensioners in Nigeria.
The president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Comrade Ayub Awaba, stated that some states treat their pensioners as lepers, adding that the conditions of the pensioners have become lamentable. According to him, Nigeria should not expect progress when people who have worked for the progress of the nation are not being rewarded accordingly. He commended Jigawa, Borno, Yobe, Lagos, and Oyo State governors who have been committed in payment of pensions and gratuities in their various states. He, however, condemned Imo State, where, according to him, over 40% of pensioners have not been enrolled in the pension payroll and therefore were not paid.
How then can we make a better society if we cannot take care of our senior citizens? Somebody will work for 35 years and have attained the age of 60. To pay his benefit becomes a problem. Whereas our political elites will occupy a very lucrative office for 4 years and they will go with a very handsome package. They call it severance package. As we speak, some states are still treating their pensioners as lepers. And I want to make a very clear example. I was in Imo recently at a meeting of the National Labour Advisory Council. And what I'm saying, the Deputy Governor was informed, the Minister of Labour was informed, and all of us there sympathize with the condition of pensioners in that state. Imo State, by all standards, is not poor. But we have a situation where more than 40% of the pensioners have not been enrolled and we are not being paid. I call on state governments, including the federal government, to prioritize the payment of the benefit of pensioners.
The 11th Quadrennial National Delegates Conference of the Pensioners Union will last for 2 days to review the activities and elect leaders for the next 4 years. Chibueze Obi in Abuja.
Nigerians only get to know how deep in a mess they are when a governor like Godwin Obaseki decides to break the ranks and tells the truth to the people. The truth is that Nigeria is in a mess, an economic mess, and it is time the government faced the fact. That fact is that only a lean government, end to subsidy, revisiting reward to political office holders, considering local skill in the award of government contracts, making Buy Nigeria a national policy, consciously building up local industries, and sincerely investing in agriculture and information technology can bring Nigeria back from the economic brink. To do this, the government must learn to converse, to engage, and to trust the Nigerian citizen. Keeping mum in the face of such economic gloom or telling half-truths is taking the people for granted. It can only produce a disgruntled and uncooperative citizenry. And talking about producing an uncooperative citizenry, the Nigerian Labour Congress is threatening thunder and brimstone. The union and its affiliates are threatening a scorched earth industrial action across the entire country over the sack of over 4,000 workers by the Kaduna State government. Again, the fact is that the Kaduna State government is broke, stone broke. The governor had become simply a pay clerk, seeing to only salary vouchers. And the government has told the people the truth. That governor, he was not elected to pay salaries of civil servants and stop all development in Kaduna State. So, if he does not reduce the wage bill, he will end up as a salary governor. Take it or leave it. The fact is that Governor Nasir El-Rufai has taken an informed and knowledgeable step to save Kaduna State from collapsing. Unfortunately, it has become his burden. If other state governments are not thinking along that line, they will only be postponing the evil day. Period. Even the federal government must begin to shed weight. That's the truth. You are watching the Signature Show on AIT. We take a break, and when we return, grounding a fighting machine as Nigerian military begs for equipment. Stay with us. Now, on March the 22nd, at a one-day National Defense and Security Summit in Abuja. The Minister of Defense, retired Major General Bashir Magashi, has said that Nigeria was in a critical security situation caused by terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping. Very correct. At that summit, the Chief of the Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, had also promised that the military would neutralize non-state actors and other agents of violence in the country. Now, subsequently, the military told the Senate that if they were provided with the needed equipment, Boko Haram insurgency will become mere history. But on April the 22, exactly 1 month after raising the alarm that Nigeria's security situation was critical, Magashi again repeated same lines. This time, and I quote him, "Make no mistakes. Our country is bleeding now. It is bleeding because of the self-interest and other primordial considerations underlying decisions. Because of self-interest and other primordial considerations." Did I hear a minister under the Buhari administration talk about primordial considerations as a challenge? Muhammadu Buhari himself told Nigerians in 2014 that killing of any Boko Haram insurgent amounted to killing Muslims. And Sheikh Gumi tells bandits it was non-Muslims soldiers who came after them. And when the bandits come for their raids, they should not kidnap Muslims. This is the Signature Show on AIT. We take a special report, which is on your request. Our review is a repeat of last week's story on the rush of attacks in our country as sign of evil times. Please stay with us. Last Tuesday, gunmen attacked a police station in Ogun State. Before then, on Monday, gunmen had attacked the Yakuru Divisional Police Station in Cross River State. Before that Monday attack, gunmen had also on Monday, March the 1st, attacked the Esenodem Divisional Police Station in Akwa Ibom State. On April the 5th, Nigerians woke up to two massive attacks on the Correctional Center in Owerri and the Imo State Police Headquarters also in Owerri.
But what happened is a very big shock. We can't say I'm surprised as such, because police is supposed to have the requisite intelligence. There should be CCTV cameras. There are areas of gathering information. Why should they be ambushed? So for you to invade the prison is a place that is highly sealed up. And after invading the prison, the police that is next door neighbor couldn't react and waited until they were invaded. It's very, very surprising and embarrassing.
The Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, had blamed the Owerri attacks on the indigenous peoples of Biafra IPOB, which immediately distanced itself from the violence and destruction. The governor subsequently pointed accusing fingers at the former governor of the state, Rochas Okorocha. The former governor has since denied any complicity in the attacks.
A group of hoodlums, of course sponsored by some known politicians in Imo State, decided to destroy public infrastructure, and government facilities. I have done some thorough investigation, and I have a credible lead as to those who are sponsoring these activities of these hoodlums.
This is not the right time to begin to indict anybody or to begin to, portion heap of blames on anybody. Rather, this is the time for self-reflection. It is a time for us to begin to believe and understand that insecurity has become the greatest challenge facing this great country called Nigeria.
The reaction of the Imo State governor is typical of the reactions of Nigeria's political leadership, especially at the federal level, as terrorists and organized criminal interests visit violence on many parts of the country. The government has been quick to label groups as the culprits. For instance, as Boko Haram escalated its attacks on Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states, President Muhammadu Buhari first fingered elements from Libya, then disgruntled politicians, and then rogue elements from Boko Haram insurgents. However, any keen observer of Nigeria's insecurity challenge will notice that the nation is progressively but effectively being encircled by forces intent on destabilizing the Nigerian state. To think that Nigeria's escalating insecurity situation is simple rising incidents of crimes by lone wolves instead of planned and coordinated assault on the Nigerian state will amount to the judgment of a simpleton. From Borno, Yobe to Katsina states, Sokoto and Zamfara in the northern fringes to Kaduna in the northwest, and Niger, Plateau, Nasarawa, and Benue in the north-central, no section of northern Nigeria is safe today. Moving from Kaduna to Abuja, the nation's capital, is a risk which many Nigerians now avoid.
What is really happening in the country is a result of bad governance, failure in leadership. Over time, some of us have been lamenting about the kind of leaders we have in this country. We have people who don't think about the people they say they are leading. We have never had it this bad before. So if really we must make headway, first of all, must stop corruption. Where somebody who doesn't have maybe O level will go and forge O level and become a senator, and tomorrow he turns to be a billionaire. So we must stop corruption, give employment to the teeming masses, the youth population. That's the only way we can bring about security and make this country to work again.
In the southern part of the country, only Lagos and to a lesser degree Oyo State seem to have been spared the horror of mindless attacks and killings. The recent attacks on the correctional facility, the headquarters of Nigeria Police in Imo State, and then the police divisional station in Yakro, Cross River State, seem to have completed the encirclement of Nigeria by non-state actors.
To be the safest or the most safeguarded place in Imo State. Why? Because you have a police command there, headquarters. Because you have the former DSS office there. Because you have the Imo State Government House there. Because you have the office of the deputy governor near there. You have the office of the first lady there. You have the residence of the commandant of the 34th Field Artillery Brigade Odins there. You have the residence of the commissioner of police there. Do you understand? And you ask yourself, what happened? Not even only that. You have up to more than 6 police tactical units, head units, located and situated around that vicinity. This hoodlum went there, carried out their operation without any counter-operation, without any resistance, without any challenge, without any attack. They had their field day, they went there and operated freely, and they left.
Today, rogue elements among the Fulani ethnic group are used to create an umbrella Fulani agenda to overrun the nation. Today, the non-violent activities of IPOB are used to create an Igbo agenda of disintegrating the nation. Today, The move by the southwest states to secure the region by the formation of Amateku is seen as a cunning design to pull out of the Nigerian enterprise. As groups in Nigeria bicker, as threats or reprisals against groups are issued, Nigeria's security situation worsens.
Sometimes most of these people you bring into big offices don't consider the national interest. They consider narrow-minded interest, and it affects the totality of the operations. So, well, to that extent, there's nothing wrong in community policing. State police, because if you go to US, you have different levels of policing. You have county policing, you have metropolitan police, you have various, and the important thing is to keep the country warm. And then let people sleep with their two eyes closed. Actually, after the NSAS or within the NSAS, the force has been intimidated. You see a lot of policemen now carrying their uniform in their bag, going to office. Sometimes on the road, you ask them whether they are policemen, they say no. So police needs to rejig. Police needs to be reinvigorated. The morale of the police force needs to be heightened, either from training or lecturing or, in fact, the civil society organizations need to be reached out to join their voices in promoting the integrity of the Nigerian police force so that the society can be well guarded.
The overt attacks must be seen as what they are, not a simple Imo State security challenge, but a national threat. The formation of a Bubago, a unified security outfit to protect the Southeast, must also be seen as a mere palliative and not an enduring solution. The solution to Nigeria's security challenge lies in identifying who and what factors and interests are driving the situation. Secondly, Nigeria's security architecture is outmoded and can no longer rise to the current challenges. It is only commonsensical and a matter of national survival to redefine and retool that architecture, to leave it the way it is, and expect a result different from the present harvest of attacks, loss of lives in thousands, destruction of communities with attendant loss of trust among the people, will amount to self-destruct. It may yet be morning before evil times overtake the nation. It can be prevented. Now, the controversy arising from Governor Godwin Obaseki's revelation that the Central Bank of Nigeria had to print over 60 billion naira, which was shared to the states to augment the March 2021 revenue allocation to the states and local governments, is not abating. It is the issue in our conversation this Sunday, and my colleague, Vim Martin Obiara-Ilo. Now, he spoke with a UK-based chartered accountant and international oil and gas expert, Nick Agule, on this issue.
This is SignatureTV.org. Breaking the news. Following the news. Analyzing the news. 247 round the clock. All on the go. SignatureTV.org. News in your pocket.
So joining me from the United Kingdom is a diaspora Nigerian. He's Nick Agule. Nick Agule is a chartered accountant. He's an international oil and gas expert. He's also a public affairs analyst. But my interest in Nick this afternoon is the article he wrote from London, which has gone viral. And the article is entitled The Road to Zimbabwe. And that article had to do with the accusation by the Edo State governor that the federal government was printing money and sharing it at the monthly allocation to states and local governments. And Nick weighed in with that article, and that article is making a lot of waves. Nick Agule, my pleasure to welcome you to the Signature Show.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, Nick, let's start from the beginning, because I read your article. A lot of Nigerians read your article, and you started by talking about what it means to print money. Is it normal for central banks and countries to print money? And if it's legal, if it's proper, how can it be done and it will be valuable for that country?
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, indeed, it is legal, and it is actually one of the main duties of a central bank of a country to issue the currency of the country and print it. So like I said in the article, there are two ways the central bank can print money. And the first is print the physical cash, which we use, which are the banknotes and coins. And then secondly, they can also print digital money. Now, in the printing of the notes and coins, central banks do that, taking into cognizance money supply. They're also thinking about cost, because it costs money to print those notes. And then generally they put currency management and everything into perspective. That determines how much currencies they are going to, how much banknotes they are going to print. When it comes to printing digital money, the central banks can also print digital money, but they have to manage the process carefully, because if they mismanage the process when it comes to digital money, instead of helping the economy, it could actually ruin the economy.
Nigeria has been said to have printed money, and the money printed was for monthly allocation. Would you say that will help the economy?
That will ruin the economy. What has happened is that the Edo State governor blew the whistle that Nigeria was printing money to fund the federation account. Information that we have got thereafter from the Minister of Finance is that no printed money has been used in funding the federation account. So we believe that the central bank governor has confirmed that indeed the bank is printing money. So the question that was left unanswered was, if the central bank governor says money is being printed, and the Minister of Finance says the money is not going into the federation account, where then is the money going? That answer was provided by the head of budget office, Mr. Ben Akabueze. I watched him live on TV, where he said the money was going into financing the federal government budget. Now, if I might explain that a bit for Nigerians to understand, the federation account is the pot where all the arms and tires of government in Nigeria come to take money. So when we sell oil and we make money from import duties and taxes paid by companies, all that money goes into a pot that is called the federation account. Every month, the federal government, the states and local government come to this pot and take what is their allocation at a meeting that is called Federal Accounts Allocation Committee, FAC. And this money goes to the three arms of government: executive, legislature, and the judiciary. Now, when the states take the money, the federal government take the money, they also now make their own budget, which is a statement of their expenditure and revenue. So the federal government makes its own annual budget and says, I am going to get this amount of money, which will come from the federation account and from other sources. And this is what I'm going to spend. Now, this is where the controversy is. The governor of Edo State said the money was going into the federation account, which is the port for Nigeria. The Minister of Finance has debunked that. They have provided data for the federation account sharing allocation for March, and it shows that no money came from printed money. Now that the head of budget office has said that the money is going to fund the federal government's own port, which is the federal government budget, we're back to square one. Actually, the governor of Edo State is confirmed to have said the truth, because we're just dealing with semantics here. If the money is going to fund the federal government budget, then it's as good as the money entered the federation account and the federal government took 100% of it without sharing to any other tier or arm of government, and they took it to the federation, to the federal government budget, which is their port. So whether the money entered the federation account or entered the federal government budget, it means precisely the same thing. It is not right for the Nigerian economy.
Let me just ask you what is confusing a lot of Nigerians or bothering them, if I will say that. How do you back these printed monies? Is it just printed, or is there some kind of financial backing, either from government savings, either from future government earnings, that will make it, that will convert it to real money, in quotes? How do you back a printed, or how do you back printed money? How do you back it up? How do you make it legal currency?
Okay, so there are two ways to it. The way this printed money works is, it's just like if you own a bank and you are in dire need of money, and you just push a call through to the managing director of the bank and tell him that, can you put 2 billion in my account? I need to spend it. You didn't say anything. Nobody paid you any money. You created no value, but because the bank belongs to you, the MD just put 2 billion in your account, and then you got an alert and you started paying people money from there. That is one half of printing the money, where you increase the money flow by injecting money in the economy. The second half is, and going directly to your question, is that that money is not backed up with anything, but you have to use that money to create output. So if you use that money to create output, then you are fine, because that output can then be what backs up that money. But if you use that money to consume, then you are actually killing the economy. What you are actually doing is you are injecting poison into someone who is sick at the hospital, battling for their life.
So you don't expect the person to get better. He can only get worse.
You only kill the person. So you have to use the money to back up output. And this is what I explained in my article, to say that printing money is legitimate. It's an economic policy that is being used by governments around the world. It is not what you use always. You use it only when you are in difficulty, in serious financial difficulty, and you want to punch your way out of it. So what you do is that the central bank just credits the account of the government, credits the account, and they can credit the account to 1 trillion naira. The government must not use that money to fund budget, must not use it to fund federation account, because if they do that, you will see inflation going up, and that is what is happening to our economy now.
It's already up.
Yes, it's already happening. Government must only use that money to create output. So let's say where we are now, we had a pandemic, the Nigerian economy is struggling. And so government decided to print 10 trillion naira. And they used that 10 trillion to invest in agriculture. And agriculture produced so much food for Nigeria, created so much jobs for Nigerians. That will be okay, because the printed money has now created value of its own. It has created output to back it up. But if government uses that money to pay salaries, what that means is that the output that is in Nigeria now has not increased. People now have more money in their pockets. So that more money is chasing the output that is there. That means the prices of what is there will start going up. And that is what is being experienced in Nigeria now.
So it's like money going down the drain that brings no value to the system, makes the system even worse.
I gave an example. I wanted to connect with Nigerians, and I'm actually very happy that I have connected with Nigerians. I brought matters of economic theory down to the layman's level so that they can really understand it. There are Nigerians that watch local news, international news. They hear things like bonds. They hear things about, buyback of bonds and all of that, that probably they didn't understand what was happening. I brought that down and I demonstrated it. I said, look, assuming we have an economy that is producing 1,000 yams, okay? And the money supply in the economy is 100,000 naira. That means 1 yam will go for 100 naira if we use all the money to buy the 1,000 yams. If government now prints money and increases the money supply to 1 million, the money supply has gone to 1 million, the quantity of yams being produced has not increased, it's still 1,000. Automatically, it means you have to need 1,000 naira to buy a yam, because 1 million is chasing 1,000 yams. 1 yam will become 1,000. But if government use that money to increase output of yams to say 20,000 yams, that means 1 million, we buy 20,000 yams at only 50 naira. So you can see inflation has been tamed, output has increased, and there's higher quality of life for everybody. Because people who couldn't afford yam at 100 naira can now
afford it at 50.
At 50 naira.
Okay, Nick, let's talk about your views on how we can turn around our economy, which is solutions to Nigeria's economy. Because I'll tell you something, a lot of businessmen in Nigeria, especially those that are import dependent, are having a very hard time. Somebody brings in a car for $5,000 when you aggregate every spending. And then he has to sell that car for about $10,000, everything put together, for him to be able to go back and buy the same car. Because on a daily basis, the naira is on a spiral fall. Looking at that and other challenges that our economy is having right now, what are your solutions? What are your opinion? How should we be going? How should our government be behaving right now in terms of managing our economy?
Thank you very much. That is actually the most important thing. Because what has happened has happened. If government was printing money, they have already printed the money. If they use the money for any purpose, it has been used. So whatever we are saying is just post-mortem. It's not really going to help anything. The real important thing that we should be talking about is what do we then do going forward? And this is the reason why your question is very important in terms of what we're discussing. And going forward, the simple answer to your question is that the Nigerian currency that used to be at par with the United Kingdom pound sterling and the dollar, or was even stronger than these currencies, has now tumbled in value, that the pound is now exchanging at 600 plus in the parallel market for £1. And the simple reason for that, sir, is that we turned ourselves from a productive economy to a consumption economy. That is just the simple reason. If you watch, I don't know if you have seen it, but I have seen a video clip that is going around where General Gowon, as head of state in the 70s, was commissioning the Peugeot
automobile factory in Kaduna.
Automobile, and they said he was going to commission the Volkswagen plant in Lagos, in Badagry, where I've been. At that point, it meant Nigeria was consuming what we're producing. We didn't even need money, as you have described, to go and buy vehicles from somewhere. These vehicles were being produced in Nigeria. The only thing we needed to buy it was Naira, and we're buying it with Naira. And because we have stopped producing, this is why there is now a need for an importer to go to another country to go and buy a vehicle to bring into Nigeria. And it is because he wants to go and buy in a different currency. That is why he needs the US dollar. And because Naira is not chasing the US dollar, that is why the cost of the dollar with respect to the Nigerian Naira is rising. It's all economics. If there is a high demand for a product, the cost of that product is going to go up. So if we stop demanding the dollar, the price of the dollar will crash with regards to the Naira. And part of the solutions I profiled in my article was that Nigeria can never do well. Our economy can never do well if we continue with the volume of power supply that we're giving to the economy. I gave the example of Qatar, which is a gas producing country like us. They produce their gas, they don't burn it. They don't set fire to it. They convert their gas to electricity, and the rest of the gas, they liquefy it for export. So Qatar is one of the world's largest exporters of gas. Come to Nigeria, a gas producing country like Qatar. What are we doing? When we produce our gas, we set it on fire. So as you and I are speaking, the gas is burning away all over in the Niger Delta. 24/7, the gas is burning away.
Creating environmental challenges.
It is creating environmental challenges. It is losing money. We're like a farmer who struggled and did everything and went to the farm, and when he harvested yams and brought them home, he set fire on the yams. And the children are there hungry. That is what we are doing. Because if I take you back to Qatar, Qatar is a country of 2.8 million people, 2.8 million. So probably the population of Qatar is, even Lagos is 15 million. So I'm looking for a city in Nigeria of 2.8 million people. Probably Abuja is a bit more than that. But that's the population of Qatar. And Qatar is generating 8,500 megawatts of electricity. Nigeria, a country of 200 million people, is generating 4,000. So Qatar is generating 3,500 megawatts of electricity for 1 million people, for every 1 million people. That is what we are producing, generating for about 200 million people. There is no economy in the world that is going to do well with that level of electricity. There is none, no matter what we do. If We want the Nigerian economy to grow with 4,000 megawatts of electricity. We are actually saying a pilot should take an aircraft into the air without fuel, with zero fuel in that aircraft. No matter how experienced that pilot is, no matter how competent that pilot is not going to take that aircraft into the air. And that is why we have had the most competent, not Nigerians, the most competent economics in the whole world, like Okonjo-Iweala. She is the Director General of the entire World Trade Organization today. We brought her to Nigeria, she could not lift the economy up. Why? Because the economy simply does not have the required electricity power to move up. It's
okay,
impossible.
that is power. You also talked about transportation.
Transportation, in fact, you try to even imagine how Nigerians are moving about. Because if you come to an economy like the UK here, where I am, every single village, I'm not talking about city or town, every single village has a train station. There is no village in this United Kingdom that does not have a train station. If you go to towns like Abuja should have at least 50 to 100 train stations. Because Durumi should be a train station, Garki should be a train station, AYA should be a train station, train stations everywhere in one city. Nigeria does not have rail. And this is where another problem comes from. I recently read in the news or heard in the news that Anambra State is building an airport. And you look at Anambra, you look at Asaba, there's an airport. You look at Enugu, there's an airport. You look at Owerri, there's an airport. If you go further afield to Port Harcourt, there's an airport. Benin has an airport. So there are airports around that place. What is it that Anambra indigenes need as far as air transportation is concerned that they won't get in these nearby airports? So what is expected is governors should take their minds away from building airports. In the whole of Nigeria, there are not more than 100 aircrafts. How can we be spending so much money building an airport for less than 100 planes? Governors should start building railways. If the governor of Anambra State built a rail line linking Onitsha to Awka to Nnewi for a start, the governor could have got millions of Anambrans boarding those trains from Onitsha and traveling to Nnewi, traveling to Awka. Millions every day. People are boarding these trains, going up and down, transporting their goods, transporting themselves. And
returning the investment. Yes.
Immediately. And then the governor of Enugu will build from Enugu and connect to the one in Anambra. Governor of Delta will build from Delta and connect to Anambra. Then it will connect to Imo, connect to Abia, connect to Ebonyi, connect to Rivers. And before you know what's happening, the whole of South have connected themselves on rail, such that you cannot transport yourself from Asaba to Port Harcourt or from Yenagoa to Nnewi or from Nnewi to Enugu, because we have millions of people who are ready to board these planes. These trains. Instead of building airports, the airports that are there in Asaba, in Enugu, are lying fallow. They are not being used. So this is one thing that Nigerian governors need to begin to think about. All the governors in Nigeria should start. And the beauty about the rail is that you can do 1 kilometer of rail, just 1 kilometer, and put wagon on it, and it will start working. And as you have money, you continue to increase it. You continue to increase it. It's not like an airport that you must finish the wrong way. Finish the terminal, finish everything before the first flight will land. When it comes to rail, you can just build from Onitsha to Oka, which is a short distance. Just that for a start, before you begin to push it towards Nnewi. And it will have monumental impact on the economy. It will even show investors that there is business in Nigeria where we can go and invest. And before you know what's happening, imagine that if like I talked about the United Kingdom, where every village is on rail, we cannot be the United Kingdom overnight because they started a long time ago. But Nigeria should at least have all the 36 state capitals and the FCT connected with rail for a start. Just for a start. Nick, before we begin to connect all the other towns and cities.
Nick, I think this is something a lot of our leaders have not thought about, because I'm just imagining in my head as you're speaking, when the man in Enugu does from Enugu to Oka, Oka to Andaman does from Oka to Onitsha, and that person does Asaba to Onitsha, what it will be. But because we don't have so much time, I guess we'll have more of you on this program as the days go. Let's conclude this conversation with the title you gave your article, where you said, "The Road to Zimbabwe." And I got so scared because I know that in Zimbabwe, at some point, and even now, that people carry baskets, and Ghana must go of Zimbabwean currency to be able to, to afford $1. Is that what you foresee for Nigeria today?
If the federal government of Nigeria does not apply brakes immediately on printing of money, we are surely and sure-footed on our way to Zimbabwe.
Well, that's our package for this Sunday. Let's meet again next week. Good afternoon.